am sorry, but what exactly is Bill doing right now? Because the more I think about this plasma ring storyline in Beyond the Gates, the more convinced I become that Bill is either playing the most dangerous long game in this entire soap, or he's about to destroy every last piece of credibility he still has left. Seriously. Think about this for a second. Leah gets arrested after the plasma operation is exposed. The hospital scandal explodes publicly. Derek is dead. Patients were put at risk. And suddenly, Bill decides this is the perfect moment to become her defense attorney. You cannot tell me that isn't suspicious. And here's what really drives me insane about the whole situation. Where was this energy before? Where was this loyalty when Leah was spiraling financially after Lynette allegedly drained a massive amount of money connected to her retirement savings? Why didn't Bill step in back then, before Leah completely lost herself? That detail matters a lot, because to me, this doesn't feel like compassion. It feels strategic. And that's exactly why this storyline is becoming one of the darkest arcs BTG has done in a while. Right now, Tomas and Bill are discussing the fallout from the cotillion chaos and the growing investigation tied to Lynette's disappearance. But Bill's priorities immediately stand out to me. He wants to represent Leah legally while simultaneously digging into what happened to Lynette. Now let's be real for a second. That is way too convenient. Bill always operates like a man searching for leverage. Every case becomes a chessboard. Every vulnerable person becomes a possible asset. And honestly, that's what makes him more terrifying than the actual criminals half the time. Because villains like Randy or Joey move recklessly, Bill doesn't. He studies people. He waits. He profits from desperation. That's why I don't buy the idea that he suddenly cares about Leah's emotional collapse. No, I think he sees opportunity buried underneath the scandal. And speaking of Leah, wow, those hospital scenes were brutal. Seeing her at Garland Memorial completely shattered me for a second. One arm bandaged from the injury, the other cuffed to the bed, surrounded by judgment from literally every direction. You could physically see the collapse happening behind her eyes. This is not the same woman viewers respected months ago. And that transformation is exactly why the storyline works emotionally, even when Leah's actions are unforgivable. Because BTG is doing something interesting here. It's forcing us to separate accountability from humanity. Leah absolutely caused catastrophic damage. Let's not sugarcoat that. Patients suffered. The hospital's reputation was destroyed. Derek lost his life because of the chain reaction tied to this operation. Shanice was completely justified when she confronted Leah about the devastation she caused. Honestly, Shanice's anger might have been one of the most realistic moments in the episode. She didn't scream for drama. She didn't deliver some over-the-top soap monologue. She spoke like someone carrying genuine disgust and grief. And when she directly connected Derek's death to Leah's choices, that hit hard. Because that's the reality. Leah can no longer escape. She can explain herself all day long, but explanations do not resurrect people. Regret does not erase consequences. Still, and this is where the writing becomes uncomfortable in a good way, I actually felt sorry for Leah. Yeah, I said it. Not because she's innocent. Not because she deserves forgiveness, but because you can finally see the exact moment she realizes she destroyed her own life for people who probably never cared about her in the first place. That scene where Leah tries explaining how she lost the retirement money, that was deeper than people realize. She wasn't some cartoon mastermind chasing greed. She was panicking. She had been financially cornered, manipulated, and emotionally broken before she ever crossed the line into criminal behavior. She made horrific decisions trying to recover from disaster, and now she's trapped in the consequences forever. And honestly, that's terrifyingly human. The red eyes, the trembling voice, the helplessness, when Shanice looked at her with absolute disgust. You could tell Leah finally understood something too late. Once society decides you are a monster, nobody wants to hear how you became one. That's why this story reminds me so much of Grayson's downfall. A lot of fans still argue that Grayson was simply evil from the beginning. I don't completely agree. I think BTG has repeatedly shown us characters who become corrupted because powerful people manipulate their weaknesses. And that brings me right back to Bill. Because I truly believe people like Leah and Grayson were salvageable before individuals like Bill started pulling strings around them. You know what makes Bill dangerous? He doesn't create evil directly. He normalizes compromise. Little compromises at first. Small moral shortcuts. Just enough to make desperate people feel like survival justifies anything. Then suddenly they wake up one day unable to recognize themselves anymore. That's exactly what happened to Leah. And now the show is expanding that corruption beyond just one character. We're seeing signs that this plasma network infected multiple layers of society: doctors, police officers, administrators, wealthy families, maybe even city officials. Elon's involvement already proved law enforcement isn't clean. The hospital wasn't clean. The financial systems clearly weren't clean either. This isn't just a criminal ring anymore. It's systemic rot. That's what makes the storyline feel bigger than a normal soap opera scandal. And here's where things get really messy. Marcel and Jacob are probably desperate right now because nobody wants to represent Leah legally. Can you blame them? Public opinion around her is radioactive. Any lawyer defending someone connected to Derek's death and the plasma crimes risks becoming hated instantly. But Bill walks directly into the fire. That alone tells me he sees a bigger reward waiting at the end. Maybe he wants information. Maybe he wants access to hidden financial records. Maybe Leah knows something about Lynette. Or maybe, and this theory has been haunting me, Bill is trying to control the investigation before it reaches someone powerful. Because the suspect list is getting absolutely insane. Joey, Marcel, Randy, Lynette, possibly Doug, possibly Bill himself. At this point, I trust almost nobody connected to plasma. And Joey especially is throwing up red flags everywhere. Can we please talk about the fact that Joey allegedly instructed Randy to contact the stabber? Because, excuse me, that detail is being treated almost casually, when it could completely explode the entire storyline open later. Joey keeps presenting himself like a guy stuck in unfortunate circumstances, but the deeper this goes, the more calculated he starts looking. I've been suspicious of him for weeks now. His timing is too clean. His reactions are too controlled. He always seems one step removed from direct blame while chaos erupts around him. That's not luck. That's strategy. Honestly, I wouldn't even be shocked anymore if Joey turns out to be connected to the higher level operators behind the plasma ring. Maybe not the top mastermind, but definitely closer to the center than he pretends to be. And let's not ignore Lynette here either, because her disappearance changes everything. Dead? Hiding? Silenced? Protected? We still don't know. But the fact that Bill immediately wants involvement in both Leah's defense and Lynette's disappearance investigation makes my alarm bells go off instantly. Because if Lynette truly vanished after financial manipulation tied to Leah, then this case may expose a chain reaction far uglier than anyone realizes. And that's the terrifying part of this storyline. Every answer creates 3 new questions. That's classic soap writing at its best. No clean heroes. No simple villains. Just damaged people making catastrophic choices while larger forces manipulate everything behind the scenes. And honestly, I think the real mastermind still hasn't even revealed themselves yet. That's why the plasma arc feels so dangerous right now. We keep focusing on the visible disasters, the hospital scandal, Derek's death, the arrests, but the deeper horror is the invisible corruption underneath it all. The people funding it, protecting it, benefiting from it, because somebody with real power is still hiding in the shadows while everyone else destroys each other. And if Bill truly knows more than he's admitting, oh, this storyline is about to become absolutely explosive. One thing is certain, though. The plasma ring fallout is nowhere near finished. Not even close. The lies are stacking higher, alliances are cracking, and every character connected to this mess is slowly revealing who they really are under pressure. That's why I can't stop watching. Because in Beyond the Gates, the most dangerous characters are never the loudest ones. They're the ones smiling calmly while the entire world burns around them